You gotta go.
That man escaped your plantation and single-handedly killed 3 of your men.
I ain't trying to break you down, but for real, you might as well give up now.
He's smart. They say he's African royalty. They call him emperor.
I want to know, what type of mental state do you even have to get in to do a movie like this, especially with, you know, this current day and age? Like, you have to really put your mind in a slave. So I want to know, what does that bother your mental state, and what type of mentality you even have to be in?
Yeah, listen, I'm a big proponent for mental health, especially with Black folks, you know, and Black men. You know, we've been brought up, you know, for generations now to hide our feelings, to not be, you know, in touch with our emotions, and getting in touch with my emotions was very crucial to play this part. You know, leading up to the movie, I mean, there was just a lot of transformations that had to happen. You know, I mean, if you're going to play a slave, you got to look the part. So there's physical stuff that had to go into it. I'm running literally for the shoot was a little over 40 days. I want to say 46 days. And it was just me running miles every single day. So I was doing cardio before the movie. I was running like 10 miles every other day. I think I was doing like two half marathons every week before I started shooting the film. So that's just a physical transformation. But then, you know, when you think of listen, we live in the 21st century. Like, there's nothing you could do to yourself today that would feel like being a slave in terms of preparation. I mean, the only preparation I could do is if I could kill somebody and, you know, went to prison for murder for the rest of my life. Like, that's the closest it gets. And then just for my mental health, like, I used to laugh at actors, you know, who would say, oh, it took me a while to shake that character off. I'd be like, yo, what are you talking about, right? But like, this role, I mean, like, a month after filming, I had nightmares that I was being chased in my dreams. Like, I'd wake up like sweating because I was still I felt like they were chasing me, you know, my dreams. It's because, like, on set, I mean, when you do all these things on set, you don't know, but that stuff sneaks into your subconscious, you know. So yeah, after I had to, you know, get into meditating more, you know what I'm saying? I had to change my diet a little bit, you know, and, like, you know, listening to all these different sonic sounds when I'm going to sleep to try to get back to myself. So this is the first experience I had with, like, you know, finding it difficult to shake a character off.
Clearly, he's a big part of our culture, our history. Why do you feel like this type of things are not taught in schools when we're taught on, you know, Black History Month, or we only get the same people, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King? Right. Why don't we ever find out about these type of people that actually helped history as well?
Right. I think it's a complicated question, honestly. And you make a good point. You know, I'm originally of Nigerian descent, and even in Nigeria, when I was growing up, we learned about, you know, the Martin Luther Kings, the Rosa Parks, the you know, the Malcolm X's. But, you know, these little characters that I think are just as impactful sometimes get lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? Because they were the ones who lit the spark that eventually Martin Luther King could take that torch and do big things with it. Malcolm X could take the torch and do big things. But there were little dominoes along the way, these little interesting people that had these little interesting stories that, you know, I mean, people call the raid on Harper's Ferry the dress rehearsal for the Civil War. You know what I mean? So it's like, and sometimes, you know, when I talk to other fellow Black people who are like, oh, bro, another slave movie, man, are we tired of these? And I'm like, you know, there are times where I used to feel that way, but at the same time, there are little stories that we don't know about. You know what I mean? Like, it's not to beat you over the head with the slave narrative, but it's to show you the slave narrative in a new way. You know, one of the reasons why I chose to do this film was because there wasn't a white savior complex in the film. There's no white man that just, you know, Shields frees himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, he took matters into his own hands and he got himself to freedom. Now he does run into John Brown, which is a true story. I mean, he met John Brown and chose to do the raid on Harper's Ferry, and John Brown was a white man, but it was a decision that he made. I think some of the times when we watch all these other depictions of slavery, like 12 Years a Slave or something, Brad Pitt got to come through to save us. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like white people don't have their own agency, you know, and Black people don't have their own agency, their own stories. And so, yes, it is a slave story, and there's some tropes in there that you've seen before. But what I do love is that we have a protagonist in our story that's in charge of his own journey, and he makes his own decisions over the course of the film. And it's a story about not taking shit. I'm sorry. It's a story about, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not taking it. When you fed up, you fed up. And I think, you know, you look at the climate right now. We actually shot the movie in 2018, and I remember when we're making it then, I thought, man, I don't know if this is going to be, I mean, it's an interesting story and it's a new story and something people haven't seen before, but do people really want to see this? Like, is it relevant? Boy, was I wrong, because we're in 2020 and, you know, Black Lives Matter is everything, you know? So yeah, I find it very, very timely.
Say you killed a bunch of white folk.
Came here ready to fight on this night.
What you bring him here for?
Ain't you got no manners? Do this if you're dead. I'm already dead.